In this video, I'm going to talk about a concept with an AI named as temperature. Now, what is temperature in artificial intelligence terminology? Temperature is basically a parameter that influences the randomness and creativity output. Now, when it is used when the model's output probability distribution while sampling the next token. So, take for example, there's a say ChatGPT model whereby you are asking for some information. Okay, so you're putting in a prompt. Now the prompt which you put and the response which you get, it differs basis of the settings which you have configured for your model. So once you configure your say chat gpt model, you will exactly specify what kind of temperature ranges you want. So temperature ranges you can think about from a probability perspective. It ranges from 0 to 1. Now 0 generates more a precise answer with very high accuracy. 1 provides random answer. It has more creativeness in it but with a lower precision rate. So it really depends on your use case scenario whereby you want a precise answer or you want a more creative response. Now precise answers are useful when you are asking for some factual information, okay, and creative response are useful when you want the model to generate some ideas or generate some responses which is not available out of the box, which is like which needs some thinking, which needs some visualization. So those kind of thing, if you want, then you need to range the temperature between 0 to 1. Now from a scale perspective, you can have a precise, neutral, and a creative scale. 0 to zero point 0.3 are usually considered as the output will be more coherent, concentrated, and conservative. Zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.7 is more balanced coherence and creativity, and zero point 0.7 to 1, it's more focused towards creativity, but from a response perspective it is not coherent or it is not precise to the point. Now I've just marked over here asterisk because from 0 to 1 is what we think, but then I have seen in chat gpt whereby they have response ranges from 0 to 2 as well, so which I'm going to show you while demonstration of the application. Now uh, if you see this text, okay, this is about all about predicting the next word. So Australia is a member of, okay, now there are various answers which we can get out of it. Now one is AUKUS alliance, G20 member group, United Nations, Pacific Nations, Eurovision, football, car, food. Now I've just marked it as green to be the more precise, which the answer which I was looking for, and maybe red is something which is kind of very out of the blue. Now, if you see from a concept perspective, now if you tone your model in such a way that you want a precise response, then it will clearly give you an answer. Australia is a member of, say, AUKUS alliance, or it's a part of G20 group or United Nations. Okay, now there is a very less chance that the answer would be food or car or maybe something else. Okay, which really doesn't make sense. Now in ChatGPT, you have something called as OpenAI Playground. So here, while playing around with OpenAI model, there is an option to set the temperature. Now, as you see in the description over here, it says the temperature, it controls the randomness. Lowering results results in less random completions. As the temperature approaches 0, the model will become deterministic and repetitive. Now, why I'm showing you this feature is because this is very much important when you generate a response, when you want to generate a response from a specific model, and you want to decide what kind of output should be given by the model on basis of your use cases. Now in copilot studio, so Microsoft Copilot Studio, here you have an option. If you go to if you start building a copilot, and if you go into the settings and go into generative AI, there is an option to control the moderation. So copilot content moderation, now you can override the content moderation settings in this node. Okay, this is the setting. Okay, so that you will find a drop down which says high and low. Now high means copilot generates fewer answer but responses are more precise, but in low, copilot will generate many answers, I would say, but the responses would be more creative. Okay, Now, as you see over here in the screen, like if you go into say specific node, okay, and you create a generative answers, you can control the content moderation. Now, Power Apps, in Power Apps, you have an option called as AI Builder. So in Power Apps, if you go navigate to make.powerapps.com, and if you see that AI Hub section on the left hand side here, you can create a prompt. Now, when you create a prompt, you have an option, couple of options in the settings. So you can select the model, and you can select the temperature as well. Now this temperature is the same thing which I just explained to you now, but this is in a different response form. Like say if you see, it specifies lower temperatures lead to a predictable results, while the higher temperature would allow more diverse or creative responses. So let me show you in action. So first thing what I'm going to do, I'll show you uh, the chat playground of OpenAI API. So if you navigate to platform.openai.com, and if you log into the application, and if you go to the chat, here you can select the model. Also, you can type in the prompts. But on the right hand side, this is an interesting thing which you can see over here, the temperature part. So the temperature currently is set to 0.99. Okay. Now, as I mentioned to you, you can set your temperature between 0 to 1. But in this interface, you can see that the temperature can be set from 0 to maximum 2. Okay. So what does this indicate? This indicates is like the extreme left side. The extreme left side will indicate, it says lowering results in less random completions. As the temperature approaches 0, the model will become more deterministic and repetitive. So if I set this temperature as 0, I will get very precise response. However, if I set it to maybe 1 or maybe 2, then it will become more creative. So this is where the temperature setting will come in handy if you want to tweak your response from the model, right? So this is from a chat gpt perspective. Now, if you navigate to copilot.microsoft.com, here you can ask anything to the copilot, and the copilot will start providing you responses. But however, in this area over here, there is no way you can control the temperature. You can specify what kind of conversation style you want. You want more creative, or you want more precise. So there is no temperature selection, but then this indicates that the this indicates basically how you want to set your tone for the response, right? So this is also one of the setting where you can set the temperature. Now if you navigate to Copilot Studio, so I'm in Copilot Studio, and I've opened one of the Copilot which I've created. Now if I navigate to the settings, and if I go to generative AI, I have an option to turn on the generative AI, so which I've already done. However, in the bottom, if you see over here, it says Copilot content moderation. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Is this means that uh, the response which is generated by the Copilot, if it is set to high, Copilot will generate fewer answer, but responses are more relevant. Medium is generates more answer, but the response may be less relevant, and low, Copilot generates the most answer, but the response can have inaccuracies. Okay, so this is also one of the settings which you can configure from a Copilot perspective, and you can read through this article over here. Now, if I close this over here, now there is another option, like say if I go to topics, and if I go to conversational boosting. Now, what is a conversational boosting topic? Conversational boosting topic will be triggered on unknown intent. Now, here there is a block called as create generative answers. So now if I navigate to the properties over here, now here there is an option for content moderation. So how you want the content to be moderated. So here the higher level of moderation means that the bot answers will be more relevant, and lower level of moderation means that the bot will generate more answers, but the answers may be irrelevant or undesirable, right? So that's on the creative end of the spectrum. Now, in make.powerapps.com, so if you have a Power Apps license, and if you navigate to the AI prompt section, okay, so if you see over here, there is an on the left hand side for make.powerapps.com, here you have an option to navigate to AI prompts. If it is not available, then you can click on discover all, and then here from here you can pin it to the left menu. Now I have this AI hub which is pinned to my left menu. So if I click on AI hub over here, Then I can create a prompt, I can create an AI model. Now if I create a prompt, okay, so what happens is like I can create a prompt. Now summarize text, so if I want to summarize some information, so I can click on it and then I can just use the ready-made prompt. Now I'll just remove all the text over here and I'll just say please summarize the given text. Okay, now I'm into lipsum.com website. So what I'm going to do, I'm just copy lorem ipsum text. Okay. So this is a simple text which I'm copying. Now in the prompt, what I will do, I will use this as an input. Okay. So I'll put in the sample data and there is an option in settings. So if I go to settings, I can select the model as GPT 3.5 or 4, and there is an option to select the temperature. Now, as I mentioned to you, lower temperature leads to predictable result, while higher temperature would allow more diverse or creative responses. Now, let's do one thing. Let's first select temperature as 0 and see the response. Okay, so I've selected temperature as 0. I have given the input text and I'll click on test prompt. Now it has given me a response. So let's copy this response and put it in a notepad. So I'm going to put this in a notepad. So the response with a 0 temperature, so temp 0 is the given text is a standard placeholder text commonly used in the design and publishing industry. It is known as lorem ipsum and it is used to fill space in a document or website to demonstrate the layout and design without focusing on the actual content. Now let's see the response when I put a temperature as 1. So if I go over here and I put the temperature as 1, and now let me test the prompt. Now it has given me a another response. So let me copy this response and let me paste this over here and let me do it again as well. Okay, so I'll again click on test the prompt and then it will again give me this response back. Okay, so for temperature as 1, we have generated the response twice. Now if you see over here, the difference between temperature 0 and 1 is temperature. If I set it to temperature 0, then it will give me the exact precise definition of the text lorem ipsum. Okay, and this is what I desire. But if I want to go something on the creative side, it will give me this response. So let's read this response. This says the given text is a standard placeholder commonly used in the design and publishing industry. So this is good. It starts with this and is used to demonstrate the layout of a document without focusing on actual content. Okay, now this is quite similar to the first temperature 0, right? Now if you see the second text, it says the text provided is a standard placeholder in the publishing and graphic design field. So it has added this another text over here called as graphic design, right? So that has gone into the creative field, creative response. And also it has given an answer or responses. It demonstrates the visual elements of a documentation or presentation without focusing on the actual content, right? So that means what we have achieved over here is like if we change the temperature, then if we keep it 1, then we may get creative responses based on how the model is configured. So this is just a simple demonstration to understand the option of temperature within your application, right? So that's it, folks. This is all about temperature within AI, and you can use temperature in temperature settings while configuring chat gpt, while configuring the AI prompts, while configuring your copilot studio, or a matter of fact any AI model application. If you use, then there will be an option to change this parameter so that you get more control over your responses. Thanks for watching.